Norbu and Skyline Sun here with a little production breakdown of our song Ice Cold Fire, which is out now on Bandcamp and all streaming platforms. You can find it in our link in bio, but this is where we're going to go through the original sessions, both on Ableton and Pro Tools, go through all the compositional arrangement, harmony, and even effects decisions that we took, talking about the gear we used and what came into our mind to come up with some of the crazy things that we did in there. We really hope that you enjoy it. Ice Cold Fire.
Out now. Oh, God.
So this is the main loop. So how did you get that tone?
At this point, becoming a bit of a tonal cliche in my choices. I have this Moulin chorus pedal, essentially just like turn everything up to 10, and it's like that vibrato over the top sort of sound, and then it's not that much else in that tone, I would say, like reverb, some compression and stuff like that, and that's pretty much the vibe.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. In general, we kept, I think, the main instruments pretty clean, and then that gave us space to go a little bit harder on the effects and the atmosphere.
And like the little ear candy stuff and
exactly
all this behind the head atmosphere.
What I really liked about the guitar parts that we did was when we got together in Berlin and added that ear candy and those little things like this. Well, I really feel like this adds a lot.
Yeah, all those tiny little ideas.
And we'll go through a few more of them with relation to the lyrics. For example, here, because we're talking about war, essentially, we wanted to add warlike calls in the guitar, remember?
Yeah, some more, I don't know, get a bit more intensity, I guess, rather than like this sort of atmosphere.
Sort of like a machine gun screaming or something. So we have this sound, which comes again. And in context of the song, it's sort of like a scream. And then it comes again. So
yeah.
We go to war, we fight some more, come back.
Actually, there is a little bit on that, there is also like this modulating delay thing that I've got on, like that sort of sparkly, almost like a granulator or something like that. I don't know, but that's just like it's like the one boss pedal that stayed on my board over the years, like the Terra Echo, which is it's like modulating, sparkly sort of modulating delay. Again, it's just like by itself, I think you can hear it, and in the mix, you wouldn't even notice all of this sort of high background stuff that sort of adds to the vibe.
Yeah, but it really does a lot. Because then we have this section. Yeah, it's the same, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I really love that. What's this layer we got here?
Reason for this.
Yeah. So this does a similar thing as the screamy thing, right?
The screamy growls, or however you want to call it, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because the words say
only
like,
deceiving, no legitimate reason for this
killing season. Killing.
Yeah.
So with those, we really tried to emphasize the lyrics. And then we can get straight into one of the cooler parts of the song, in my opinion. Now that we're still on like the guitar effects that we did, right?
Sure, yeah.
So after the bridge, or what's called the bridge, I don't know, post-chorus, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Which goes like this.
If I had a chance to fix it all, I would take it, for we fall into a darker time. Will take too long to find our footing between the lines.
So again, in this section, like we did a couple things. Firstly, to mirror the lyrics, saying we're falling into a darker time. So we're falling a bit in the feel of the song with the drums, right?
Yeah, it's like it's definitely pulling back. It's bass and drums is much more sort of dragging hip hop sort of vibes compared to it was a bit more pushing ahead of the beat before then. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if we isolate like just the drums here, in this section it's very much like with the toms, it's kind of fast. And then the bridge. And then in the halftime we got a really more like a head banging thing. And what we do to emphasize all that is with this guitar effect. And that's, I think, just this guitar part reversed. So if we just reverse it here.
No, it's slightly different, I think.
Yeah. So we came up with this melody and then reversed it, right?
Yeah, but there's a. So I think you actually already had the idea of this reverse thing. I was like, I need to try and mimic or have a similar effect. But I was like, I should just learn what you originally played and reverse it as well. Because there's another layer. I think it's a synth that does the same.
Yeah.
There, exactly.
Oh yeah, true. It was a melody that I came up with the synth, exactly.
Exactly, and I was
Just
like,
this
I
one.
should just copy that on the.
And then we got you to play it in reverse, so then we could reverse it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
we got to play it normal because I was trying to play it reversed or like a similar idea. I was like, okay, that's not going to work. Let's reverse yours, flip it back to the normal, play them together, and then reverse both of them again.
Okay, let's listen to the synth.
And now both of them reversed.
Okay. Because this is the reverse one, so maybe this is the. Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah. And that's what you played here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we can reverse both of them, and together they sound like this. And that's really to emphasize that like darker feeling. I think it does that really well.
Yeah, agreed. And put it back in the mix one more time.
Yeah.
We fall into a darker time. Will take too long to find our footing between the lines.
And then we thought it was a good idea to come in with this instrumental break.
Yeah, I think it was the main idea actually. I wasn't sure about having the guitar in here for a while. I think it adds something, but the main idea was like this. It's like this call and response between the hits of the bass and the drums, and then like the synth melodies, boop boop weda, boop boop weda, boop boop weda, weda, mimicking like the hip hop vibe of the previous section, but yeah, taking a bit more instrumental, as you said.
That's really cool. And again, the synth and the guitar playing pretty much the same thing. I love this part. And it comes back at the end, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's again the same thing with the call and response.
Yeah.
It's more plucked.
More of the neo soul bullshit. How many hammer-ons and pull-offs can you play at the same time?
And we have this second half of this instrumental break. And I really like this backing thing that you did as well with the delay.
Yeah, it's super nasty.
Yeah, it is, in the best way. At this point, I just want to know, like, how did we come with the original drums?
I think it was like some different splice samples and stuff like that that I sort of chopped up to create a slightly different beat, depending on what the section was, just to get the original ideas and the original vibes. Some Corey Fonville pack, I think, the Butcher Brown pack.
Yeah, we had the original drums that Jar chopped up, and then I had the opportunity to have this Dutch drummer, Ben Bakker, who's really talented studio drummer, live drummer, and he recorded these drums for us at his home studio. They just sound great, but the original drums sounded like this, already cool. So we had that part, and then we had more like a sampled feel.
Yeah.
And the recording is like this. Yeah, and it's pretty cool. Do you want to talk about the bass at all, or?
Yeah, I know. I think with the bass, it's all pretty straightforward. You know, it's like DI into like a MPEG sim, I think maybe. And then on the trusty Squire Mustang flat wounds, at the time that we were writing it and going through a lot of these ideas, I had a big thought of always trying to have like corner response or very minute ideas always fitting in the spaces that were left by the other instruments. So it was always like this ebb and flow. It was like something says something, and it's the next idea that says the next phrase, and there's always like this little bit of crossover. And I think you can really sort of tell that even when it just comes to like the bass part, the guitar part, and the drums and how they're fitting together. Maybe you can show in the session as well, because like even just playing bass, drums, and guitar, just like in the verse, there's like a good amount of space being left by the bass, and it's sort of like counteracting the same from the guitar as well. It's like sort of a similar little rhythmic phrase, but it's like immediately after it's in call and response to the idea. There's like a little variation there as well.
Yeah, and then we had here where the bass was more following the guitar.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It catches that little rundown.
Yeah, and then in this section. So yeah, it's really cool, the interaction between the call and response sections and then where the bass is just emphasizing the guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's especially when we're trying to get more like just the pure groove and umph, it's like simpler.
Yeah, exactly. And do you want to talk about synths or vocals or drums or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, the synths are quite simple parts.
Yeah, it's more additive little melody lines or super atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
Background stuff.
And yeah, the synths that I added is just my Virus TI through some kind of tremolator from Sound Toys that I used. And I just printed that. So we have this synth line.
Actually, that's a synth. That's like a patch that I've been using. What's that? It's actually just Tal. I reckon it's a pretty good free synth. It's like super in depth for a free VST synthesizer. I got a lot of this really nice sparkly granulator sort of stuff in this. I like this patch. I've been using some similar stuff to this on a bunch of recent productions I've been working on, literally just for this sort of ideas, like just to give like a couple little melody points some extra strength, and then just push it right in the back just to occupy that space there.
Well, I mean, I love what it does in the song. I love that kind of sparkly stuff, man.
Yeah.
Like that sparkly stuff. And then talking about sparkly, what's going on in this atmosphere synth? So this is more the legato thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember if this is your synth or mine.
Sort of paddy stuff. I think it's yours. Not sure. Yeah, I think it's yours. And then, because in this section, this is the section in the instrumental break that we. This is just when the synth is doubling the guitar.
You've also got the sparkle synth doing the same line.
Well, you've got harmony between the bells
True.
and the more like lead synth sound, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
To the right, and then and to the left.
Yeah. And then the guitar is doubling the lead one.
And I really like that dissonance note that the bell does there. In context. It leads in really nicely to the next part. Well, this was a Frankenstein section.
Yeah.
So originally, this section was just going from...
When it happens near your home, all of a sudden awoken by the storm, that shit is ice cold.
So this halftime again. And then it would just be the same. That shit is ice cold. And then into that last section. But then I thought like it would be really cool if it were to slow down. So I took all of the parts and independently slowed them down, like the drum. For example, here we can see it, I think, if we listen to the original drums. So I took this exact loop, put it in on Ableton in repitch mode, warped it until it sounded good to me. This is actually the only original drum parts that we kept in the real song. And the same with the bass. I used exactly the repitch. So you hear that very draggy thing. And it seems like I kept it for even this section. I kept it in repitch mode, but it wasn't warped. Whatever. And the guitar, same thing. But this was pretty challenging to like get the timing right.
Yeah, absolutely. It was time consuming.
And then we had this to like lead into it. Again, just like a little reverse guitar thing. Let's see what it sounds like originally. It's just one of those
little
chunky
trill things.
Trills, exactly. And reversed. But it's cool because it kind of like takes you into that sort of feeling. And then what I did with the vocals here was similar. I think I actually used Little Altar Boy, probably.
Broken by the storm, that shit is ice cold.
So yeah, we were talking about this slowdown section.
Yeah, and this last outro.
So here I took the original loop and I just put it into into the overhead track.
That's funny.
And I did some clip gaining to just like emphasize that snare, because and I put that into the tom track, because it's the one that had the like nothing on it. As you can see, the drums in general, I barely did anything because it just sounded good already. We have the original drum loop here. Added a little reverb. And then here, this is like the drum loop that he recorded over it. And there's this really cool like low snare, you hear it?
Yeah.
And so I really like that. So I added that as a layer, just tie it together with the rest. And then in this section, we have the guitar doing this really cool growly thing again. Yeah, how did you get that going?
Oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I know. Distortion, volume pedal. I'm not sure about what else I'm running. I was running actually. I'm looking at my pedal and trying to remember. My pedal board. I think it was just like distortion, a bit of reverb, and then and those volume swells on like a super dissonant, like minor second chord, like somewhere in there where there's like this minor second interval.
Sounds kind of like a Wookiee. You have this you have a pedal, right?
Yeah, the volume pedal on my board, exactly.
That's super cool. And then what else do we have on the guitar here?
And then like there's other exactly super trilly sort of stuff.
But it sounds so cool.
Again, it's the exact same idea that we were doing pretty much the whole thing is like boop boop dibba dib. It's exactly. Like say something, it's response, say something, response. It's the same idea.
But now you're doing it within the guitar itself as well.
Exactly, rather than across different instruments.
Yeah, as well as yeah. And so you have the which is the kick as well in the drum.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just gonna put the overhead for now. Yeah, it's cool. And it switches into this.
The snare, the deep snare to finish.
Yeah, so that actually is like, I don't know exactly what it is that he plays there. But and as I was just being creative and I was too lazy to make a new track, so I put in the synth track.
That's where you put the that's funny. So yeah, it's like same processing as a snare, as a synth, rather.
It's the same. I mean, listen.
Pretty much same frequency range as it's occupying.
I like that what the decapitator was doing. Honestly, don't even ask me why I put it there. I have no fucking clue. Yeah, it was again, as I said, it was like 10 minutes before printing, and it probably had something to do with because I was routing the drums to specific channels on the SSL. And
right. Yeah. Sure. Makes sense.
I didn't have the space, so I just chuck it into the synth. I felt like it just wraps it up nicely.
Yeah, agreed.
Sizzles down.
Do you want to start talking about the vocals then?
Sure. So this song actually is somewhat a Frankenstein. I had written the lyrics of it before we even started working on the song together. I wrote like the chorus during another writing session, and then another part is actually a poem that I wrote at the start of the Ukraine war. There was also a lot going on with the abortion rights in the United States, and I had written a poem covering both of those things, sort of like frustrated about both those things. And so I took both those things that had to do with war, with the Ukraine war in specific, and I brought them together in this in the lyrics of this song. For the most part, I mean, we recorded the vocals at your home studio. There's not much crazy stuff going on, so we have the original vocals, which have some EQ, de-essing, and a little bit of tape saturation.
We go to war, we fight some more, come back home sore and fall on the floor.
Well, it's important to note that in the first verse, because it's this poem that I wrote, which is more spoken word style, in the mixing phase, I decided to give it this telephone feeling, as if I was talking to the phone to someone.
Yeah.
So that's why it sounds like a telephone.
Go to war, we fight some more, come back home sore and fall on the floor.
Like complaining. And as it goes, we can see there's some automation here.
Yeah, slowly starts to open up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So I have some EQ stuff going on. Let me open it up actually. This is the telephone EQ, just the phone preset on ProQ. And then there's this tape, which has a filter and tone. So I'm like literally just bypassing it when the chorus comes in. But here you have the frequency of this EQ being modulated.
Fighting for gas, which fills up this trap. Price out of whack. Who benefits from that? We gotta ask, that is our task. We know the facts, what you do with our tax, yeah.
And then it's bypassed.
It's an ice cold world, so cold it hurts to the touch. It's ice cold fire.
And for the rest, it's very simple. There's automation on the reverbs and all these parallel chains.
And there's some little Vox throws and stuff like that as well, like on fire there. You can see it a couple tracks below.
Yeah,
There's the
exactly.
delay throw.
Cold fire.
And there's also just this delay, which I'm modulating just live.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then most of the song, there's no harmonies, except for in this halftime part.
Fall into a darker time.
We get these whispers, because the whispers are cool. It's to contribute to that like dark, eerie feel, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Into a darker time.
Darker time.
It'll take too long to find our footing between the minds.
Yeah. And it adds a really cool effect in the song.
We fall into a darker time. Will take too long to find our footing between the lines.
And without it, just it's not the same, you know?
Into a darker time.
Yeah.
Will take too long to find our footing between the lines.
Adds a lot.
There is one more part with some melodies. It was a little bit later, like the second pre-chorus.
This
Bridge.
bridge part.
Yeah.
It's called the bridge here. Well, for example, that is already cool because I really love that guitar part. And
Yeah,
let's double it.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out like a better way to bridge, to get into this bridge. And I was like, yeah, okay, some sort of like clear melody that, or maybe like, I think maybe even like a guitar solo. It's like, I'm not sure if a solo is exactly the right way to go. But it was like, okay, some sort of melody, and then you join me on the melody, but then ended up being you only joined like the last tiny little part of the phrase. But I think and then it works quite well because you're like joining that very last part, and then it sort of opens up to this big stack of much bigger stack of vocals as well.
Yeah.
When it happens near your home, all of a sudden awoken by the storm, that shit is ice cold.
So there's a few things happening here. In the harmonies, this has been like collapsed, but
When it happens near your home, all of a sudden awoken by the storm.
you're even in there.
I'm in there as well. I don't even
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah, don't you hear it?
When it happens.
I'm the
You're
low
like,
one.
"When it happens."
Yeah, I'm the low one. I forgot about that. Yeah. That's so funny.
Yeah, we need to change the credits now. You have to be into backing vocals as well.
True.
Shit. But harmony wise, what's going on here?
I like the one note that doesn't change and is like super distorted and fucked up. That's my favorite harmony.
Yeah, I like that too. Let's go back. And so
When it happens near your home, all of a sudden awoken by the storm, that shit is ice cold.
that's the same one that continues there. I love it too. Like
Oh my god.
yeah, that's just like completely mangled up. Maybe in
It's sort of-
Ableton.
It sort of reminds me of I don't know why. Maybe it just reminds me of like those memes where like the gain gets pushed to like plus 50. It's like
Yeah. I mean, it's super. There's nothing there. It's 26 dB of saturation.
hell yeah.
It's just mangled up.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice subtle use of saturation. People
Yeah.
should learn how to use this amount of subtle saturation.
Be subtle with your saturation,
Yeah,
guys.
exactly. Only like 26 to 27 dB, you know?
That's the minimum you should be using.
Yeah, exactly. That's moderate.
And I really love the digital clip setting here, and it adds that like choppiness to this. Pitch down.
Hmm.
So let's pitch it back up and see how it sounds.
I forgot it was pitched so high.
So the original one is me shouting high, huh?
Yes, exactly. I forgot that.
Me too.
Nice. That's it dry. Okay. Yeah.
Don't you love it?
Okay, put the saturation and the pitch back on it.
But I really love what it does also at the end here. And how we knew this would work, only the Lord knows.
Yeah. I'm imagining back to us doing that take. Like, this is a terrible idea. What the fuck are we doing?
Well, maybe you were thinking that.
That's clearly I forgot it. It was gone because I knew it was gonna go somewhere.
But bro, because this was like towards the last part of
the last session. Yeah.
The last session, yeah. So we recorded all the guitar parts. Then we recorded the vocal.
We recorded some extra guitar filly stuff.
Exactly. And then we were just like, I'm just gonna
candy
go all
and
out.
shit. Yeah.
and like just scream and do all the shit. And I think I like completely took you off guard. No, you wanted to tell me?
Probably.
You don't remember?
No, I think that specific take we're just talking about definitely took me off guard.
I think what took you off guard, we're gonna get into that now.
Okay, sure.
The harmonies going on and the screaming kind of parts in this last section. So it goes like this.
Ah, yeah. Actually, no, I think that maybe took me off guard, but it definitely it was, I know that was the vibe. Absolutely, I knew it was the vibe in that moment.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that way I just let myself out. I was like, let me just go as hard and give the emotions as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say about this vocal part. It's just contributing to the wildness.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we can finish it by saying that Ice Cold Fire is out on Bandcamp. And I think by the time people are watching this, probably out on all streaming platforms.
Yeah. Ooh, it's an ice cold world, so cold it hurts to the touch. It's ice cold fire.